Praise God. So we couldn't go deeply into temperaments, but there are 4 major temperaments. The choleric is the purpose-driven, goal-driven person. Is very success-oriented, very out there, but he's not great with people. All right. So everything about him is comparative. He's always having the biggest car, the biggest church, the biggest crowd. One of your political aspirants is choleric. So everything is comparative. This is the biggest, this is the best. They're not usually good with human relations. It's just, it's their personalities, how they come. Yeah. Okay? So they're choleric. And they're great, they're great leaders. They're always natural great leaders. They always do things people say can't be done. In fact, they are challenged by fight. The more you fight them, it's a fuel. So it's better not to even fight them if you want to win them. So that's choleric. The second people are sanguines. Those are us. We're nice people, fun-loving, easygoing. We don't like routine. You see, we don't like routine. But all temperaments have positives and negatives. Yeah. And it comes that way. No matter who you are, you came with some. We don't like routine. We like spontaneity. The third one, the melancholy, that's people like her. They're very detailed. It's like Pastor Mike. They plan 2 weeks ahead. Yeah. Who packs 2 weeks ahead of a trip? What are you going to wear tomorrow? You have packed 2 weeks. We don't even know where we're going tomorrow.
We planned that 2 weeks ago.
And I laugh. When I say I'm packing for 2, I'll be rolling on the floor, be laughing. Then you're packing for 2 weeks. And it frustrates her when we are not packed. Me, 1 hour to the trip. What am I going to wear? So that's the sanguine guy. Melancholics are very organized, and everybody's important. Then the last part, the phlegmatic, they're very laid back, very low energy, easygoing but low energy. They don't struggle, they don't fight, they're very gentle. They can't put that if you're even fighting with them, you'll be frustrated because they won't even respond. They are not even joining you.
They're pleasant.
They're pleasant, easygoing, but they're not very energetic. They're very regular, reliable, very easygoing. So how do you deal with differences? Whether it's background differences, like the story I shared earlier, or whether it's gender differences, or whether it's temperament differences.
Okay, sorry, please. I just wanted to quickly add something. That all temperaments without Jesus
is horrible.
Horrible.
Yes.
So there's no perfect, because during counseling, people say things like, oh, so it's because my temperament. No. Any temperament that is not submitted to the leadership of Christ is no good.
It's negative. So how do you deal with the differences that you will encounter? Number one, become aware. We call it awareness. Awareness. So become aware. So some people just think, oh, my husband is unreasonable. If you understand that this is his personality, you see, you can't force him to change his personality, at least not quickly. That means 99% of the time, this is how he's going to act. Do you understand? Awareness. Just like Pastor Mike was sharing, awareness is the first stage. You are not better than the other person. You are just different. You see? And the part they bring is like she is very organized. There are times, a lot of times in our life, we need that organization. But I'm spontaneous. There are times in our lives as well, we need spontaneity. So I'm not useless to the equation. Nobody is useless. You see, your partner's difference is not a bad thing. So become aware that this is how a lot of women see talking, or see sex, or see money, or see this thing. Become aware. Or this is how men see these things. Become aware. Men like freedom, women like security. So you need to understand that. Oh, your wife loves security. Emotional security. Pastor was talking about that. You can't be chatting with another woman. That's not emotional security. Financial security. She wants to know you're making sound financial decisions, that she and her children are going to survive. She likes physical security, things like that. So when you understand, you become aware. That's first stage. Second thing is accept. When you become aware, accept it. I'm not going to change this person. I can't make my wife to be spontaneous all the time. Largely, she's going to be organized. And she too needs to realize that she can't make me start planning, packing for 2 weeks. There's no way.
I've kind of given up.
Yes. I will still pack 2 hours before the time. Not 2 weeks, you see. You need to accept that person. Most of our frustrations is because we've refused to accept this person the way they are. You need to accept them. Very important. That, oh, this person is spontaneous. This person is purpose or goal driven. If you're married to a choleric, you can never compete with his work or goals. He's goal-driven. He's work-oriented. The only way to be in his good side is to support his work. Trying to make him feel less or say you work too much, you're a distraction to him. He's work-oriented. He's a go-getter. So you accept them. Whether it's gender, whether it's personality, accept the person. So, and we're not just saying this off the top of your head. In your own home, be checking what you need to accept about your partner. No, he's spontaneous. Accept it. Number 3, adjust. Adjust. So adjust to this person. So I've learned now to adjust with some things with my wife. Oh, she needs to plan 2 weeks ahead of the time. Me, I want to plan 2 hours ahead of the time. So I've adjusted now to maybe like a week ahead of the time. That's progress. Adjust. All right? You need to adjust. Then next thing, appreciate. You see, that difference is actually a plus. Stop seeing it as a problem. See it as a plus. Imagine if I didn't have... The way our schedules are too crazy not to be organized and not to be planned. And when I plan it myself, I'm not a great planner. That's why she's... In fact, right now, I'm talking to my team. I have one in Australia, somebody in Cameroon, somebody in Nigeria. We're cracking our heads. We're supposed to go to Australia. We're supposed to go to Cameroon upper week. And then we're supposed to come back from Cameroon, back to the United States, then go to Australia. I was the one planning that part. So now, we are finishing the Cameroon meeting on a Monday. We're supposed to fly from Cameroon to America, which is a day plus, almost 2 days trip by the airline we're going. By the time we get to Houston, it's going to be like Wednesday. The flight I bought to Australia from Houston is leaving on Tuesday. You see the problem now? So right now we're cracking our head how we're going to change all that. You see? So I need somebody like her to organize. All right? So instead of fighting her that, oh, you are always trying to organize or control me, no, we need that control. Maybe tomorrow if we have time, I don't know if we spoke about it last time we came, about finances. I was horrible with finances. I'm a spender, she's a saver. Everybody has a money personality. Again, when we come again, we'll deal with that. Everybody, you have a money personality. And again, it clashes. So she's the saver. I've told my country, Nigeria, stop borrowing from China, borrow from my wife. She has money. She saves. No matter the economic inflation in the world, my wife has saved money somewhere. She's just a saver. Me, I'm a spender. I'm like my government. We're spenders. We are the spender people. So you see, you need to appreciate why that person is in your life. That person that looks like they don't care too much, they are important because you care too much. 2 people that care too much can't live together. Women don't know that the reason why God made men not to be so detailed like you is so that they can live with you. If men were like women, no house will stand. Because women pick too much details. You are given that gift because your role involves that. Women pick details. Women can have a whole quarrel with attitude, no words. Because they can pick atmosphere, they can pick attitude, no words. They can tell that girl doesn't like me. How do you know? She can pick it. Women are so sensitive, so detailed. so detailed. Is somebody getting what I'm saying? But you notice men have binocular vision, so they don't see that much details. That's why your husband can be looking for his keys. Say, honey, where's my key? Binocular vision. You see him far, you can't see close. The wife will just come and say, this is your key. Because she can pick details. Men don't see colors. In case you don't know, men just have... That's why the only shoes men need are 3 pairs of shoes. 1 brown, 1 black, 1 white sneakers. That's all men need. They don't see too many colors. But for women, if you say they want to buy shoes, they say blue. Blue is not blue. There's dark blue, turquoise blue, powder blue, baby blue, sky blue, marine blue. The amount of details that women pick. So God, there's no way God could have brought 2 beings that were that detailed. They would quarrel too much. So you notice a man overlooks things. That's why both of you can live together. Is somebody get what I'm saying? So you need to begin to appreciate that this man is wired this way. And you need to appreciate that this woman is wired this way. She is such, when a man and woman comes together and really work together, it's a winning team. It's a winning team. When you start to appreciate each other. Appreciate each other. If you go out with your wife somewhere, if I'm going to have important meetings, I like to take my wife. You know why? If I go alone, if she asks me, how did it go? I don't remember anything from it. So I like to take her because women have unlimited memory. Men have almost no memory. Because our core function is vision, seeing the future. So our strength is in imagination. Memory, little. Women have incredible, unlimited capacity for memory. She can remember everything that happened even 20 years ago. That's why if a man and a woman are quarreling, a man's default is let's move forward. Not because he wants peace, because he can't remember the details of this quarrel. But she remembers everything. What you were wearing, what you said, why you said it, where you said it, she remembers. So you see, you begin to appreciate. Instead of you using those things for quarreling and fighting, use it to compliment. She is good with the facts and details. If I'm looking for anything in the house, I will ask her. She's organized. She knows where our certificates are. Well, I don't know where anything is. Are you getting what I'm saying? You begin to appreciate, all right? And the last stage, you alternate time. Okay, I'm going to... My organizer. So, number 1, awareness. Number 2, accept the person. Number 3, adjust. You'll be happier if you adjust. Number 4, appreciate. Number 5, alternate. The whole idea of bringing a man and a woman together or bringing people that are different together is that when they stay long together enough, the spender, after being married to a saver for many years, becomes a better saver. And the saver, after being married to a spender for many years, becomes a better spender. Hallelujah. That's how God designed it. If you are scattered and you marry an organized person, if you open your heart, after being married to an organized person for 10 years, you become a little more organized. That's what happens to you. All right? That's how God designed it. So you alternate eventually if you follow the other processes. All right.
Okay. So interestingly, we're supposed to, I don't know how we're going to do this, but I'm going to try to run through because that's the key. We're supposed to talk about differences, indifference, and difference. Okay? Differences in marriage cause problems. And if they are not resolved, you move to the stage of indifference, where you don't really care about your partner or the marriage anymore. And that becomes the danger spot. That usually is where a lot of people are. And a couple of things, I'll just give you a few things that can cause indifference in marriage. When you have constant unresolved conflicts, you're consistently arguing about things, but there's no solution. You just can't get a headway. After a while, you just give up, and it will not matter anymore. You're not really interested in whether the person sees your point of view anymore because they never do anyway. The second thing is when you're constantly feeling unheard. Imagine having a conversation with someone and it just seems like you're talking to yourself or the words are bouncing off. Honey, I want us to do this, and the person just never listens. Or you say something and they say what they assume you said. And you're right there in front of them and you want them to clarify. So when you have couples constantly feeling unheard, then they enter into the stage of, I'm just surviving here. I'm not really interested in whether this works anymore. So we can just be roommates for all I care, or role mates. Whatever works for us. If we can pay the bills together, we can, take care of the kids together, we can co-parent, but we don't really have a marriage anymore and I'm not interested. The third thing is constantly feeling alone in the marriage, where you constantly feel like you're the one carrying it all. Like, part of when we walked in, the question that was being asked was about sex, and they kept emphasizing on the fact that the woman is tired. The woman was tired. And I said to my husband, I said, interestingly, because the perspective we brought to it was, I heard most of what the pastors that were talking said was, the man looks like he has seen the world. And I just said to my husband, it's possible that he hasn't. It's possible that he has held himself planning that when I get married, I will do all styles, all positions, I'm going to finish whoever is handed over to me. And for men, they both work. So I assume that they both come back tired. Now for the man, sex is how he releases stress. For the woman, it's work. Maybe yes, a massage or some hugging or cuddling that does not end in sex. Because once it ends in sex, she has giving energy again, and that's not what she wants. So, when someone feels like, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to take care of the children, and then I get into bed, I cannot have a good night's sleep. And the man is saying, you are destroying this marriage because, I have needs. She's going to be indifferent. She's going to be like, I really don't care. I don't care if you have needs. I have needs as well. I'm not interested. Do whatever you want. Some women have actually used their words to push their husbands into adultery because they're tired. So when you feel like you're constantly doing everything in the marriage and the other person is not reciprocating, you're tired of trying. That's when you enter into that mode of indifference. Another thing is when you're tired of being hurt. And I see this happen a lot in counseling sessions. The person who has given is just tired. They're not interested anymore. I've even heard people say things like, I've given all I can give in this marriage and I don't think I can do this anymore. They don't want a divorce or anything. They just want to be married, but they don't want the actual marriage. Like the example Pastor K gave of the woman that has moved out of her home for 10 years. She lives in the same city with her husband, but she's left the home for 10 years because she's not really concerned about the marriage anymore. She has entered a stage of indifference. And what can happen is you can either stay in that state forever or it deteriorates and it ends up in divorce. So what are a few things that you can do? Number one, the Bible is clear. Go back to your first love. Where Jesus was talking to the churches. I know that was not said concerning marriage. But he said, you are neither hot nor cold. That's indifference. You are not hot, you are not cold. You are not interested. He says, so what do? Go back to the things you used to do before. So if you're with someone who has entered that stage of indifference where they're really not giving their best, they're there, but they're not really there. What you need to do is go back to the things you did that made them fall in love with you. Go back to treating them nice. Go back to saying the things go back to speaking their love language, ensuring that they're hearing you clearly. Second thing, don't avoid conflict. Manage them. Don't avoid. In fact, one of the things I tell people, one of the beauties of conflict is that you can use it to create policies in your marriage. So once there's something you disagree on, once you resolve it, it becomes a policy in the family that in this family, we don't do this. So I'll give you an example. There was a couple who, when they got married, they didn't have any agreements concerning in-laws. So they didn't have the conversations about whether people were allowed to come and stay over in their home. And in Nigeria, it's almost normal. Somebody will get married, you boy in your house, and somebody just carry their bag and just come. And you're like, you are here? They'll say, yes. I came to stay at my brother's house.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long are you staying? That in itself is a quarrel point, because the minute you ask how long are you staying, Mama in the village has heard that you are driving her son from his brother's house. So imagine somebody coming with all of that drama. So this girl and the guy didn't have any of those conversations. He got married and his brother moved in. The first one moved in. How long is he staying? Don't worry, just give him a month. He ended up staying 10 years. And others were coming and going. So it wasn't like that was the only one. And they would come, and because it's their brother's house, they have this feeling of entitlement. So they are coming to meet the woman who is their brother's wife, who will be a slave to them. So she's supposed to cook, clean, serve all of them, and still, I saw one woman's face, they're like, I'll never be me. And so when they came in for counseling, I said to them, this is a conversation you should have had before you got married. When are in-laws allowed to come, and are they allowed to sleep over? And when they come, how long do they stay? And both of you must be in agreement. Because if the person has overstayed, that means it's the responsibility of whoever it is, their family, to have a conversation with the person to say, oh, it was nice having you with us, but we really would like alone time. So when are you leaving? In fact, you leave tomorrow morning. I remember my father-in-law, before he passed, he was the king of my husband's village, so His Royal Highness. So they had a house. He was living in the eastern part of Nigeria. That's where he was ruling. But we have a house. They have a family house in Lagos. Now, when I got married to my husband, everybody had left. So he's the youngest, so everybody had moved on with their lives. So the house was empty. So we refurnished the house, renovated it, and we moved in. My father-in-law, because he's sanguine, So, he's a people person. So if he hears that you're going to Lagos, you say, oh, I have a son in Lagos. Just go there. Tell him HRH sent you. So people I'm not even talking about family members. I'm just talking about somebody you've never met before. Just brings his bag to your house, knocks on the door and says, please, I'm looking for Pastor Kingsley. And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking at the bag and say, HRH sent me.
Yes.
I just go in and say, your people are looking for you outside. I remember one particular one. Pastor K told him, I will be kind to you to allow you sleep here, but 6:30 a.m., before my wife opens her eyes, you have left this house tomorrow morning. So those are conversations that they should have had. And when we had the conversation, we came up with a solution. What are you comfortable with? What are you comfortable with? They came to a middle ground. And that became a policy in their home. We don't allow people stay this long, or we don't. And that was how they were able to create policies that nobody was angry anymore. Third thing is, don't criticize your partner. Anytime you criticize your partner, they build a wall of defense. And after a while, people don't really move towards criticism. So if you're constantly going to be negative around me, I'm going to pull away from you. So if you want to end indifference, you have to build a culture of appreciation so that people don't feel resentful. Celebrate little victories. Don't only complain when your partner does something wrong. Yes. Praise them when they do something right. Another thing you need to do is take responsibility for the parts you play when things go wrong. That way, both of you are less defensive. Most times, people are quick to point out what the other person did. So be clear and say, oh, I know I also did this, and I'm going to work on it, but this is what you're doing, And if somebody hears, for instance, if I tell him, oh, I know I'm always in your face about keeping to time, but I also know that I do this. And I know that I can say it in a much kinder way so that you don't feel bad about never keeping to time. I'm sure that he will be open to admitting to, okay, I get your point, but truly maybe you should say it in a nicer way. Then the last thing, which is the most dangerous part of indifference, don't withdraw, don't keep malice. Retreat, but return when you are calmer, so you guys can have conversations about what's been causing the problems in your home.
Hallelujah. All right. So, number one, the differences usually happens between 1 to 7 years. Most couples will deal with that. After 7 years and above, what most couples deal with is indifference. So, you're not responsive, you're not seeing me, you're not hearing me. No matter what I do, you don't give me the energy I need back. Life has happened, kids have come, work, and all that. So everybody's tired. So you are in the house, you've moved from being soulmates to being role mates, to being roommates, to being cellmates. So you're now like in a prison with the same person. So part of how you do that is learn the things your partner needs. Pastor mentioned that he knows what to do to get Pastor Antonia to be happy. You need to know those things. One of my friends said he has a PhD in his wife. So like saying, I have a PhD in Mildred. Mildred has a PhD in Kingsley. So you need to know your spouse like that. No matter how powerful fire is, if fire has nothing to burn, it goes out. So that's what happens to many people's marriages. They started with fire, but they stopped putting things in the fire. All right, no fodder, no wood, no nothing. So put things in the marriage. All right, and because life transitions, your needs also transition. All right, somebody said it this way, that when you are young, you write a poem. But as you get older, you write a check. All right? So, because at a certain age of life, the poem might not interest your wife. Maybe a check will make her happier. So you need to know what are the things I need to put in the fire to keep the fire burning. So a book like this will help you how to make love to a woman without touching her. All men get this book. And if your husband doesn't want to get it as a woman, get it for him. I dealt with here how that, the way a woman feels loved is different from how a man sees it. So if you want to make love to a woman, it doesn't start by unbuttoning her blouse. All right? You unbutton her heart. If you unbutton her heart, she will unbutton her blouse. All right? So as a man, you must know. You must know how to do it. When I hear some men say, my wife doesn't agree for us to have sex, you need to know how to make love to her. And it starts without touching her. Then the last thing is deference. So we talk about differences, indifference, then deference. Deference simply means putting the other person first. Romans chapter 12, verse 10. It said, preferring one another in honor, putting the other person first. So that's simply what deference means. The way a marriage works, and Pastor talked about it, having that mindset that my partner is the most important person in this life. Their happiness. You see that again in 1 Corinthians 7, verse 33. It says, he that is married cares about the things of this world, how he may please his spouse. There's what will make your husband or wife happy. And what makes a marriage solid is when the two people have that as a priority. That how will I make my wife happy? And how will she make me happy? So prefer to defer. So if your mindset is right, what will happen in your marriage is that both of you the argument you're having is argument of who will do for who, not who we get from who. So that's how you know it's solid marriage. It's no way, baby. Like now, that couple that one person wants to have more sex than the other, what should be going on there is, hey, baby, how less should I do it? I know you are tired. And the woman should be saying, hey, baby, how much or how more do you want it? I know you want it. That should be the argument. But when you see two people hold their own right, fighting, marriage has the scripture you read, that marriage is not a place you fight for your own right. So when you see two people fighting for their own happiness instead of the happiness of their spouse, that union is already weak and will eventually have issues. All right, hope you were blessed. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Wow.